All right, guys, I want to talk about a watch that kind of snuck up on me a little bit. I never should doubt at any point when my buddy Homer sends over a watch what I'm really going to get here. That's going to be a really good watch experience typically. And that's definitely the case with this. So big thanks to Homer for sending over. This is the Maurice Lacroix Pontos S Diver. And I have to say, I'm a little smitten with this one. I don't know, let's just kind of break it out. Let's just get into it and talk about it like I do most watches. It's a 43 mil case, but that's measuring at its widest point, excluding the crowns. And you can see the case kind of bellies out a little bit, so it tapers out. 43 is going to be at its widest point. It's probably closer to like 42 or whatever up towards the top. And then a 51.4 millimeter lug to lug, 15 thick, 22 lug width here. Bracelet tapers down to 20. Okay, we got the measurements out of the way. Movement is the SW200. I just threw it on the time grapher. This thing is running at a -3 seconds. I've been wearing this all week long. I don't know why. I just kind of connected with it. I suspect that it's just the way it feels on wrist, but also the longer I wear it, the more I look at it. There's a bunch of little styling details on this thing that make me think that, I don't know if it was a single person that designed this or a group effort, but there was just a bunch of good ideas thrown at this thing that maybe, you know, when you look at them all on paper is a little overwhelming, but once you actually throw it into a watch, they all work in my opinion. So you can see it's an internal rotating bezel. That's this crown up on the top side here. And then you have a screw down crown here to operate your 3 hands and the date section there cut out at the 6. So let's do some close-ups because I want to point these out so I don't forget to mention them. But you have a very clean, well done dial with the branding, of course, the applied M up there. And then you have the applied indices all the way around. They catch light really good. The polishing on them is sharp. The handset is also fully polished but angular. And then you can see the minute hand is, for the most part, red, whereas the rest of them are polished. It's kind of different, but I really like it. The seconds hand doesn't have the lume that you would expect on most divers, but instead it's tipped with red. And if you look, it perfectly lines up with all of the markers and indices. So it's all very clean and symmetrical as it rotates around. It's all part of the design element. Now there's a little chapter ring that sandwiches down the dial that also has red markers, and it's not overwhelming because you already have all of the minute ticks all the way around, so you just have them on the 5s. And then above that, you have your inner rotating bezel. So you unscrew this crown, and there's like a clutch mechanism or something in there that you can feel it engage, so you know it's gonna, be a positive experience. There's like no play in it, and it rotates around. Now I've had issue in the past with certain brands where this mechanism will fail. Now I've never taken one apart, so I don't know the inner workings of it, but whatever Maurice Lacroix did works. Like, it doesn't feel like it's fragile or it's going to fail on you or anything. You can feel like the engagement and disengagement of it, and it's a very satisfying feeling. The screw down crown is also very smooth, nice little pop to it. You're going to be able to do your date position there, and you can hack and everything like that. The other thing I really like is the font choice for the numbers on the date wheel. Look at that too. You just don't see that very often. I really like it. So, and that's of course all loomed. I'll do a loom shot at the end. Nice double dome sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating on the top and the bottom. I know it's on the top because, again, this is Homer's watch. Homer's a little rough with his watches, but he took a hit here and there's some abrasion on the top side of the AR there. So that's damage on the crystal. As far as I know, I have not been able to wipe it off. But even the polishing on the case, it's on the lug here, the dramatic lug, and then it stops topside to meet the flat plane that is on the top side of the watch here. And even the end link on the bracelet also matches that. All right, well, we can take a look at the Caseback real quick. Nice oil pressed screw down Caseback with all the branding, the model name, Swiss made, all that good stuff. So, also on the clasp, it is absent of micro adjust. I know some people will gripe about that, but the rest of it's all milled out. It does have a dive extension, very positive feeling and functional. You might be able to move, I don't know if that's another hole. I don't know if you can move that out one or, no, that's the indent for that probably. Yeah. And then the clasp fold over is the split bar here that snaps into place to these little indents there. I'm actually kind of a fan of that. I'm not sure how long that lasts, but I really like the tactile feel of it. Even the sounds of it and everything are just really nice. The bracelet also are all individual components, so it is going to fold up on itself and be super comfortable. Even that center link on the end link there, you can push it past that point. I did it accidentally once and I noticed that there was no damage. It's intended to do that because it's very smooth in doing so. So it does articulate and the bracelet will lay flat, you know, pretty quick right across, and if you push it down, even faster. Let me pop this guy on wrist. So this is how it will look on my 7 1/8 inch wrist. It's got a nice weight to it with the bracelet and the watch head combo. It weighs in at about 200 grams sized for my wrist, which would be it's probably sized for like a 7 1/4. It's a little Bruce loose on me here, but it feels really good. It doesn't move around a bunch because of the weight and the overall case design. It just settles right in. It's very comfortable. And it's super easy to read. I like the handset. It catches light good. And then once I got used to the red minute hand, that I know that that I knew I was looking for it, it's also easy to read. I could have just as well went for a full polished minute hand, but I'm glad that they did the red accents on there because there aren't a ton, but with the seconds hand, the minute hand, and then the little splash of red going all the way around internally, I think it's just enough that makes it not feel blah. Because when I first got it out of the box, I honestly kind of was thinking it's a little not flashy, but the more you wear it and the more you look at it, there's little splashes here and there, and they're intentional and they're well executed. Even to the point where that raised center link on the bracelet also has a polished relief on there, with the rest of it being all brushed. It's just enough to give it where it catches that light, especially when you're out in natural light. You'll catch a little glimmer of it. It just looks great. So big thanks to Homer. Price tag on these, I think is kind of up there on the retail side, you know, €24.60 euro, but I don't know how old this hang tag is of this watch. I think it's a few years old when this watch was released. But I think with this brand especially, you are definitely going to be looking for either deep discounts on new, or you're going to look for used, in my opinion, because I'm pretty sure, unless somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure these take a pretty healthy hit on the used market if you're a flipper. So, but it's definitely an opportunity as a buyer to save some money and get yourself a killer watch. I would easily put this watch in a category of everyday wear sport type watch. I think the absence of the outer rotating bezel is actually kind of refreshing to me a little bit. It's you're not going to bump it, or you're not going to fear of it like popping off. I've actually ran into people with multiple different brands of watches where they wear them and they're not, you know, nice to them necessarily. They don't protect them. They just wear them. And some people have shown me where their bezels have actually popped off their dive watch. I don't know what they were doing to have that happen, but you're not going to have that happen on this watch. So I do want to give you a size comparison because I know a lot of people know or are familiar with the size of a Seiko Turtle, just so you can put it in a little bit of perspective. There it is next to a Seiko Turtle. So I think once you see it next to some other divers, you realize that it's not a massive watch. It's just nicely sized, nicely weighted, and well executed everyday type dive watch. So let me close you out with a nice lume shot here. I'm not sure what lume formula they're using, but it is plenty bright. It's nice and green. I'm guessing it's just a solid application of C3 Luminova, and it's well executed. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And again, big thanks to Homer for sharing this with us, and I'll catch you on the next vid.